LNC Secretary. Pennsylvania, and I served 2 terms on the Libertarian National Committee. My literature outlines my other qualifications. Before I move on, I should mention that my opponent, Alicia Matson, felt that I misinterpreted her positions on ballot access and on her support for the Building Fund, and for that I apologize. So my priorities as Secretary will be to, number 1, increase transparency, number 2, leverage volunteers better, and number 3, grow the Libertarian Party. At this point, I would like several good friends and colleagues of mine to discuss my qualifications. Thank you.
I've known Chuck for a long time. Chuck is an incredible libertarian. He gives time, he gives money. He's served in leadership positions, both at the state level. He's previously been vice chair of the LNC. Unfortunately, I had him a qualified vice chair that I wanted, so Chuck didn't get my support on that. But what you've told me as a body is that you want this party to move forward and start focusing on doing the business of growing the Libertarian Party. As your chair, I have committed, I will work with anybody that you give me, anybody. But I'll tell you that who I want you to pick as secretary, who I think I'll be most effective with as secretary, is Chuck Moulton. Thank you.
Yesterday I told you that Nick Sarwark's strategic thinking impressed me and even intimidated me. Chuck Moulton's strategic thinking and his ability to outthink opponents terrifies me. If I was a Democrat or Republican, I would be praying right now that Chuck Moulton is not elected the next secretary. Many of the things that I've received credit for, including the growth of the social media page, is actually the work of the strategic mind of Chuck Moulton. He was the first one to start the Facebook page many, many years ago. And the idea of using people's strong abilities, not just having generic volunteers, but people volunteer based on their ability to get the maximum economic return from each hour that each volunteer is putting in. That idea entirely came from Chuck Moulton. When it came time, when I asked Chuck, I said, Chuck, we have this issue, we have this amazing program, who's driving? But we don't have any way to get it to people unless they can physically come to a location. So in some states it's so big and spread out, it's not really convenient. It was Chuck Moulton's plan to use Google Hangouts and to set it up to allow that to happen. Chuck Moulton is a strategic visionary. Chuck Moulton is the guy who's going to outthink, out-strategize, and outsmart the opponents that we have. If your goal is to cut government and advance liberty, if your goal is to grow the Libertarian Party, if your goal is to make sure that everybody in this room and everybody who's a Libertarian outside of this room is maximally efficient in promoting liberty and cutting government, you should vote for Chuck Moulton. Please join me in doing so.